live. Trying to get this thing set right. So today again, I'm on a commute, headed to the gym. Tired as fuck. I do not feel like going. But this is another instance where, we kind of talked the other day, yesterday or the day before, about men and the burden of performance. The way I feel does not matter. That does not make a difference on what needs to be done. You ask, a lot of high-performing people who are successful, and if you tried to talk about how they felt through the process, they would look completely dumbfounded. Like, what does that have to do with anything? The way I feel has nothing to do with anything, with producing a result and doing the work, doing the next thing that needs to be done. And that's just it. And that comes with every facet of life. The truth is, A, it doesn't matter. B, nobody really cares. A man struggling is not the same as a woman struggling. You're expected, and you should be, held to a standard that you can figure it out, because you have to figure it out. It may take a little longer. This is why I encourage mentorship, coaching. Through trial and error, it may take longer, but eventually you'll find a solution. And this is the importance of discipline and having an understanding of where your feelings and emotions fall in line in terms of your results, your production, and your reactions. I've had somebody come on a live once, and she said, I don't agree with you telling men to suppress their emotions. That's unhealthy. And I've never in my life told any man to not feel your emotions and to suppress your emotions. That's the exact opposite of what I tell men, especially men that I work with who are usually going through a breakup or in that painful state of being fresh off the breakup, the confusion, the pain, the anger, the sadness, the hurt, the anxiety. I tell them, sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Sit with that. Now, if you're feeling hurt, go find a place. Go sit for 3 minutes and let it hurt. Identify. Allow that hurt to resonate. Allow it to be there. Welcome it. Recognize it. Respect it. And let it just flow through, and it goes away. Therefore, you're not suppressing anything. You're just not reacting to it. Hi, Amber. If you try to deny something your body's telling you, that emotion is telling you, it's only going to amplify. Like these people who pretend that they're fine, I'm fine, they're really not. That's where mental illness forms. Thank you, Les. Thank you for coming in. I think coming on the dude's live streams and calling them gay is pretty gay. So, ditto. Back at you. So, it's important that you have that understanding of your emotions and what they're there for. Your emotion, every human being has an emotion for a reason. That's a signal. That's a signal to something external happening or something internal happening. That doesn't mean that it requires a response or a reaction. And leading up to that, YouTube box, thank you, man. Very kind of you. So this leads me to the point of the live is, speaking with a guy who's saying he's been arguing a lot with his lady. Thank you, Lee. Thank you for taking accountability, brother. I like that. That's what we all about here. Very strong. Solid. I like that. So, here's what happens. Women are emotional creatures. They're led through life by their emotions. Women's default mode of operation is emotional, as men were logical. For women, it comes, and this is their order of thinking and solving problems, and it's first, it's emotional, then it's logical, then it's instinctual. For men, it's logical, instinctual, emotional. Or you can flip-flop the emotional and instinctual. We always go through logic first. And here's where a lot of men mess up when it comes to working through something with their lady, is that if women handle stress and pressure differently, they have a very emotional response, and an emotionally reactive response to things. Even good, healthy women who were brought up right, raised in a good family, if something gets uncomfortable or stressful, they're going to be more emotional, or just as emotional. Women are led by their emotions. They have these emotional swings all day, every day. And through that, they speak a lot, and they may speak passionately or emotionally. And if they have something, it's hard for a woman to come get something off of her chest to you, to tell you that she's displeased with something or unhappy with something. And, you know, a lot of times, women don't think they should have to ask, that you should already know, and that's highly illogical and unrealistic to expect anybody to read your mind, but they do. And they'll get frustrated and they won't say anything about it because they don't know how to articulate it right away. And this is more so, if you have the look for the character, those eyes will bring more vigor to the character. Thank you. I actually started an independent movie as a killer. I did. It's a pretty fun experience. I don't know the name of it. It was a local director, producer, something like that. I did that. It was fun. I enjoyed it too. I've always wanted to be in Hollywood. I was quite the entertainer when I was a kid. So this is more so when there's a habit and a pattern of having the man being more emotionally reactive. And so she's already on eggshells about the situation. Then she knows she has to come to some emotionally charged up man who's going to overreact and explode and blow up and make this thing even worse. And what that essentially is if she comes to you with something, even if it's confrontational, sure, you may have an emotional, you're going to have a feeling, right? You're going to feel aggravated, you may feel stressed, you may feel angry, you may feel resentful, you may feel hurt, you may feel taken aback, caught off guard. Like, it's many things. You can feel really good about what she's saying. When it's a difficult topic of conversation or anything that comes up, and she brings it up, it may not come, the delivery may not be as smooth as a counselor saying, how do you feel? Can you explain this? No, she's going to come to you like a human woman who's just had a long day or just has had this thing on her mind. And it may not come out perfect. Here, we're about to get into the meat of it. You as a man in a relationship, and your role and your duty, your burden of performance is to remain cool. The mountain. It's okay if she gets emotional. It's okay if she comes a little charged up. That's her job. That's her position. That's her nature. That's a woman's nature. Feminine nature is chaos. Masculine nature is calm, stable, secure. And by you being that and representing that, she's going to feed off of you and naturally start to come down a few notches. And the more you're able to maintain your composure, you can actually get to the root of the problem by asking halfway smart questions and making simple observations about what she's saying and bringing it out in her. So this guy's telling me they argue and they get these screaming matches and nothing gets done, and all he wants to do is tell her the how and the why of everything. Here's where that is foolish. Is that woman's coming in you emotionally. and you're trying to sprinkle logic on that emotion. She's feeling let down, angry, not trusting you, disappointed. You know, there's a plethora of different negative things that she could be feeling in that moment. And you want to explain to her why she's feeling like that, or make her understand through reason that what she's feeling is ridiculous. Simply, when you start to try to out-logic a woman in her emotional state, what you're sub-communicating is what you're feeling is invalid. I'm not listening to you. I'm going to shove an answer down your throat, and you take it. I'm not going to listen to you, but you better listen to me. And look, if you got a chronically disrespectful woman and you're a genuine guy and a good guy, there's a fine line between disrespect and being open with some healthy conflict resolution in a loving, mature way. But the last thing you want to do, because essentially, if you blow up back at her and start trying to fire back, guess what you just done? You've jumped into her frame. Now you're acting like a woman. Now you're a woman who looks up to you to trust you for security, safety, and calm, and peace, and confidence. Now she's arguing with a woman because you've lost your shit. You've lost your composure. Now you're emotional. Now you got two emotional people trying to convince each other who's right. So now nobody's getting understood or heard at this point. And all you're doing is piling on to the conflict of the problem. And if you really get down to it, and you take the calm approach and you're able to drill down on what's being said, it's really a small thing. It's typically a small issue that was just miscommunicated or overlooked, and it should take about 20 minutes to be able to talk through some routine couples beef, if you're handling it right. If not, it could drag on for days. It can lead to breakups. It could pile on. It could just keep being a reoccurring series of building resentments until you eventually just put a big wedge in between you and you drift apart. But I'm not going to go that extreme with it, but it possibly can. So the point is, yes, you may feel angry, but that does not mean you react angrily. That means you stop, you identify, okay, what she just said made me angry. Sit a minute, sit a second. Talk in 1 to 2 seconds. Don't say anything. Don't puff up. Don't get in a defensive posture. Don't wrinkle your brow and look at her like you want to take her head off. And all you have to do is simply say something like, so XYZ seems like it bothers you. And what that does is that immediately disarms her from attacking more. Then you've essentially taken this potential situation of a 8 or a 9 and brought it down to a 7 or a 6. Then she can say a little more, which will bring it down another notch. Then you can ask another quality question about what she said to reinforce that you're actually paying attention to what she's saying, and she may have a point. Then you bring it down another notch and another notch until you're calmly and lovingly talking through. Together, you're solving the issue. And isn't that what it ultimately is with a good, healthy relationship? Ultimately is you and her against the world, not you and her against each other. Don't be foolish to think that there's this fantasy land where couples never argue. Good couples never argue. That's nonsense. There will always be conflict whenever you have two different personalities. Friends, business, relationships, sports, anything. When you mix personalities, there will always be some form of disagreement or conflict. How elevated and toxic it gets is completely up to the people in the interaction. And look, I know there's outliers. I know there are exceptions. I know there are narcissists, which is a way overly used term nowadays. Everybody's a fucking narcissist. That's such a small percent of people that are actually real narcissists. I think it's just the easy way out for people to justify, I don't know. But if you've ever dealt with a real narcissist, you would know in the grips of a narcissist. So, and that was what this is about. Controlling your emotions. Part of controlling your emotions is being aware of your emotions, not denying them, not denying your emotion, being aware of it, just not reacting. This is just a pretty simple, basic concept of Stoicism. The unbothered man, the unperturbed man, who can work through anything, unaffected. And I touched on in my last stream, if there's something that you need to vent and get off your chest, and there's something that's kind of sticking with you and you can't seem to shake it or work yourself through it, you have your tribe of guys, a trusted group of men or man, or whatever, another male, who you can bounce things off of, a like-minded male. Because I hear men talking, they're like, yeah, well, you got to tell her this, and this, and I. No, you don't. It's foolish. It seems like these days men give each other the worst fucking advice. And so you also be careful who you're soliciting advice and trusting your innermost stuff with. That's a dangerous game too. So anyway, thank everybody for popping in. Just something I wanted to touch on and address. And I hope everybody enjoyed the live stream last night. It's come to my attention that the video came out grainy, which I'm furious about. But you see, you can't even tell, can you? I'm furious about that. So I have my editor looking at what the problem is on my end to get that stuff fixed. But I'll have him back on, Tanner Guzzi, and throw him a shout out and thank him for coming on. Great show. Very interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to doing the next one. And not next week, but the following week, I will be having another guest on. It will remain anonymous until a few days before the release. But it's going to be good, I promise you. And thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. I'll see y'all on the next one.